Hello everyone, Charles Watts here. Welcome back to Inside Arsenal. Yes, I know it's me again, second time today, but I have just returned from Mikel Arteta's press conference at London Colney ahead of the game against Spurs. So as promised this morning, in this morning's show, I have decided to pop back on and go through the sort of main injury updates. There is other things to discuss from the press conference. I'll talk about those a little bit more probably in tomorrow's show. This one's just going to be a quick injury hit, team news hit ahead of the game against Spurs, because there was plenty to talk about. Mikel was asked, as expected, about Gabriel, Ricardo Calafiori, the other injured boys. You know, are we going to see any of them back for the Spurs game? As you can imagine, when it comes to Mikel Arteta, he was hardly in the mood to give much away. He spoke a little bit, but he wasn't throwing out answers left, right, and centre about whether Martin Odegaard will be fit, Victor Gyökeres will be fit, Gabriel Martinelli. But we'll go through. So I'll go through the quotes of what he had to say. Like I said, there was plenty more from Mikel that we'll talk about. We've got the embargoed section quotes that won't go live until tonight. So I'll talk about those in tomorrow's morning show as well. But on the injuries at the press, I'll tell you what, it was so cold at the press conference. All this money Arsenal have. Do not turn the heaters on in the press room at London Colney. It was freezing. Still trying to warm up now. The whole way home, I had the heaters blaring in my car, trying to warm up. I was shivering through it. I knew I was going to have a question towards the end as well, and I was honest, I was shivering. I was like, my God, I knew I'm going to get my question out here. I'm so cold. Anyway, enough of that. On Gabriel, he said, yeah, unfortunately, Gabriel picked up an injury with the Brazilian national team, and he's going to be out for weeks. When he was asked, can you give us a little bit more clarity than that? He said, no, we need to have another scan. I think it's next Wednesday, and we'll have the timeline probably much clearer than we have at the moment. So another scan for Gabriel next Wednesday. Arsenal hoping to learn more about the extent of how long he's going to be out for. Then obviously he was asked, how much of a blow is this? And he said, yes, it's clearly a blow because it's our leader. He's in our back line. And to me, it's obviously never a positive thing. The good thing, as has been mentioned, is that we have very good options and people have to stand up now and do their job. So that's what he had to say on Gabriel. On Ricardo Calafiori, who was another player not injured like Gabriel was during the international break, because he never actually played for Italy during the international break. He went over, was with the squad, but came home without having played, came home early because of a hip issue that he's been managing. And Mikel was asked about that and said, he wasn't available for Italy. He's been carrying a few things and we've had to bring him back. He hasn't trained yet. So tomorrow we have another training session and we'll see how it is. He was asked, is it a load issue for Calafiori? And he said, yes, he's been dealing with a little issue and he played as well. Then he had a rest. We take that load because of it. When he got into the last game, the Sunderland game, and had to travel with the national team, they were very understanding of that issue. And that's when they allowed him to come back. Arsenal definitely appreciative to Italy for the way they handled Calafiori during the international break. I still think Calafiori plays in this game. As I said, I know Mikel's being very he's keeping things close to his chest there. And he said he hasn't trained yet. We'll have a look tomorrow. My hunch, kind of based on a bit of information, obviously, that I've spoken about in previous shows, is that Calafiori will probably make it for this game. But we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully he does, because otherwise you're going to have to shake up the entire left-hand side of the defence, which is not ideal when you're going into a North London derby. It's not ideal in any game, certainly in the Premier League, but certainly not for a North London derby. So that's what he had to say on the two defenders. On the others, and obviously there are others, he was asked about Gyökeres. I'm probably going to miss some players off here, but Gyökeres, Martinelli, Odegaard, Noni Madueke, probably missing someone off there, but you know what I mean, the other injured players who were out before the international break. And he was asked, what about the others? And he said, we've put a lot of energy during the break with all the medical staff as well to try and bring them as quickly as possible. Tomorrow, we have another training session. We'll see how some of them are feeling, whether it's a bit too close to bring them in for this game, or we feel that they can have a contribution in the game. Tomorrow, we'll have more clarity. So he was pressed on that. So he said, so there's possibility that these players could be involved, or at least some of these players could be involved. He said, yes, I'm hopeful that we can make another step, but certainly I cannot tell you. He said, can you name the players who are going to be fit? And he said, no. Well, I can, but no, in very classic Mikel Arteta fashion. James Benjamin asked him, well, before the international break, you were optimistic. You sounded optimistic. Are you still as optimistic? Are you less optimistic? How are you feeling? He said, I am, but this is the final stage. And now is when there is contact around them, when they have to be pushed to do very unpredictable things that they haven't done yet. I think they are going to be with us soon. I don't know if Sunday is going to be too soon. So, yeah, he wasn't in an entirely giving mood, Mikel, today when it came to injuries, which is no great surprise. Look, we all know Mikel Arteta. He's been here long enough for us to know how he works in the media when it comes to press conferences. Thomas Frank gave a very more upbeat injury outlook at his Tottenham press conference ahead of the game. I don't know if you've seen the quotes there. Pape Sarr is fit. He got an injury during the international break, but he's trained and is fit, according to Thomas Frank. Lucas Bergvall as well is fit and is trained. Kolo Muani is fit and available. He's going to have to wear a mask because of that injury he suffered against Manchester United, but he's available. Kuda's trained as well. So a lot of the injured players for Spurs are coming back for this game, so they're going to be strong, certainly as strong as they've looked in a while. Still no Dominic Solanke for them, although he is getting closer, apparently. Dragerson as well getting closer, Frank said, but I think it'll be too early for him. But certainly some of the injured players coming back for Spurs. Mikel was also asked about Gabriel Jesus. He said he's very good. He's doing everything with the team at the moment for the last almost 2 weeks. We're going to give him some exposure as well internally with some games so that he gets good fitness. But he looks really good in training and he's going to be a big addition to the team. So that didn't sound like he's going to be coming straight back into the first team picture. It sounds like there when he said we're going to play some games internally, whether that's games against the 21s or whether that's some sort of behind closed doors friendly over the next few weeks, just to give Gabriel Jesus some sort of competitive or semi-competitive minutes before coming back into the first team. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe he'll even play in an under 21s game, whatever. I haven't looked at the fixture list. I'm not sure when the next game is that's coming up, but maybe he'll be involved in those. But certainly for all of those people who are maybe getting a little bit excited about all the social media work that Arsenal put into Gabriel Jesus over the last sort of 2-3 weeks and all the video clips from him training, it doesn't sound like he's going to be sort of considered for first team action yet, but he's doing very well according to Mikel Arteta. So those were the sort of the main injury hits that Mikel gave or didn't give in some regards today at the press conference. I asked him about Ben White. Actually, I'll speak about that more in tomorrow's show. But I thought it was interesting his comments, his answers to me over Ben White. I asked him about whether it's still sort of been carefully managed because of the injuries and whether the trust is still there in not so much the player, but the body with Ben White. And I was a little bit surprised, I have to say, by his response. It certainly made it from his answer that it's not so much about the injuries at the moment, that it's more like he just has to win his place in the team back. And it's just purely that why he maybe didn't play much or as much as we expected. He didn't start any of the 3 games immediately before the international break. I thought it was quite interesting. I'll talk about it a little bit more tomorrow, and I'll bring these exact quotes up in the show tomorrow. You can find the full transcript already from this press conference. It'll be on arsenal.com, I'm sure, and Tom Canton would have put it on Football London, so you go and check it out. But I thought that was quite interesting on Ben White, because he's got another big week coming up for Arsenal. 3 games, of course, massive games. Spurs, Bayern, Chelsea in the space of 7 days. Can Urian play all 3 of those games? Can he start all 3 of those games like he did before the international break? Should he start all 3 of those games? I mean, for me, no, he shouldn't. He should be sitting out at least one of those games, probably the Bayern Munich game. Ben White should be starting. But we'll talk about that in tomorrow's show. I'll go over the quotes a little bit more in terms of what he said to me. He was asked about Bukayo Saka. And there's been lots of talk of late about Bukayo Saka's contract, and we've seen sort of stories saying, oh, it's agreed in principle and all that stuff. I had a question about it in one of yesterday's shows, but I'm not, or as on this morning's show maybe. As far as I'm aware with the Saka stuff, nothing has moved on. Arsenal are very, very confident it's going to be done, and all the noises coming out of the club about it is it's going to be done. There's no panic stations or anything like that. It's obviously still got a long time to go. There has been suggestions that it's agreed in principle and all that, but I'm not sure I'm 100% in agreement on that. But Mikel was asked about Saka, and he said, well, what I'm very aware of is that he wants to continue with us, and he's very happy. He's in the place that he wants to continue to be and to achieve everything that we want. to achieve together. And then when that happens and how it happens, I'll leave to Andrea and the club to figure it out. So that's what he had to say. I did get him very quickly at the end. I asked him about Kieran Tierney because I just wanted to get his immediate sort of reaction to what happened for Kieran Tierney. I know he's not an Arsenal player anymore, but look, we all love Kieran Tierney. Of course we did. You could see the sort of outpouring of support from the Arsenal fan base for Kieran after the goal he scored for Scotland that saw him qualify for the World Cup. And I just wanted to get Mikel's thoughts on it quickly at the end of the press conference. So I did ask him and he said, well, I'm very happy for him, very happy for all the Scottish people as well, because I lived there for 2 years, had an amazing experience. I fell in love with their passion, how to treat people. So I'm very happy for the country. So yeah, well done, Kieran Tierney. Again, what a popular goal that was. So that's it really from the quick roundup today, the press conference reaction. Like I said, I will talk more in depth about quite a few of the bits from the press conference in tomorrow's show. We've got the embargoed quotes to talk about as well in the morning. Some interesting stuff from Mikel there on one or two subjects. So we will talk about that. Anything you want me to discuss in tomorrow's show, you know what to do. Get down into the comments, leave your comment, your question, your opinion, anything like that. And I'll pull some of them together and get them included in the show. Until then, enjoy your Friday evenings, everyone. Enjoy the cricket if you're going to be watching it overnight, which I certainly will. Yeah, have a great one. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.